Welcome back to the classroom. Come on in. No late pass required. Today, we are continuing our watch through the behind the scenes look at Arcane with Bridging the Rift, Part 3, titled Kill Streaks Meet Keyframes. Interesting title. I wonder where they're going to go with this. But with all that in mind, what we saw last time, we saw a little bit of really the developers just having a tough time, like really doubting themselves, and obviously like a lot of the show creators, a lot of the writers really doubting that the entire thing would work. And in all honesty, like I can understand taking that emotional toll on themselves, because it was just simply something that was such a monumental task, and to be told to like put it off and whatnot, like that was really rough. And so I'm curious to see where they end up going with this, because last time around we obviously saw that they were ready to move forward with it and actually be able to fully support it, rather than kind of put it on the back burner for the time being. And the incredible CEO and then all the other new people that they brought on, I'm hoping that that means that this next one is going to be a little more optimistic than what we've seen so far, because all these people were like really modest with something that they really did an incredible job of creating. And so I'm ready to get into this. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Once again, awesome intro here with the Riot Games logo. We will show them all. Oh, we're back in Paris with our animation company.
There definitely is a lot of Paris life and culture in Arcane. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of Piltover looks like Paris.
I didn't even think about that.
Things
That
are
makes a lot of
designed
sense.
To be functional, but also to be a piece of art. I think that's something very much the French kind of spirit. Yeah, so this venue is actually where we had Worlds a few years ago.
Oh, okay. Obviously, they had their
It was really close to our studio, and so we saw a bunch of people from
the
Prestige.
esports competitions. So these are really
Something
big.
Special to finally be able to share that with them. I think they were fans of the story, and of the characters, but you kind of also have to experience like the buzz in the world around the game.
On a tous lu que c'était quand même le jeu mondial et l'opportunité de faire quelque chose de très très bien.
I mean, yeah, it's insane to see that right down the road and have that happen.
To show to viewers that we are not only good to make trailer and music video.
They want to show off.
Vraiment d'une intention, vraiment de plaisir, de passion, de faire un film, enfin une série, plus que de faire du marketing.
If I'm confident about that, I don't know. I hope.
Jeez, they're not even confident in that either.
Surprise.
I think everybody on the project is out to prove something with what we're doing, and I firmly believe that you need to find someone who's kind of willing to bleed for like this thing they're trying to make.
Yeah, and they're doing a really good job of that too.
Be bold, otherwise you're not going to really have anything.
Look at all of them. They're so worried. They're so anxious about it.
Risk something in order to make something that makes an impact.
Oh.
There's a very, very competitive scene here at Fortiche about what they call is it baby foot, right? Baby foot.
Yes.
Yes.
Baby foot. Interesting. Not what we call it.
Killing me.
Right? We call it foosball over here.
Oh, there's the worthy goal. Basically, the idea for this trip is to get into a room with the directors, the animators, the editors, and just brainstorm a bit together. Like, what would be the coolest version of this scene or this kind of episode?
It's not a bad idea having everybody actually meet up rather than doing all like the virtual meetings and whatnot.
Time is like, I want to solve the story beats with the team in Paris. It's just going to be great to be like, hey guys, here's all our awesome ideas, and then they tell us whether they can produce it or not, or steer us more into something achievable.
It's not done until it's done.
Being all in the
right?
room in
It's
the
like
same
the
place is a
block of
lot
marble
different, I will
chiseling
say.
away, and occasionally, knock off like an arm and have to start over.
If we ever proceed with a scene without taking in that input from the directors here, it's worse, because they're just so talented. They always find this really creative spin.
Yeah.
Pascal has this amazing eye for character designs.
Oh, I love that concept
models,
art.
the stylization.
Tu vois la cam, je sais pas si on pouvait pas mettre.
Man, they're really showing that scene over and over again, aren't they? Showing us a finale before they're even finished with it.
Jérôme, he's the invisible wizard at Fortiche.
Today I want
Fortiche.
to create a lab to experiment new style for the future with Riot.
I think when you think about the final look, that painterly look that's integrated into 3D, the super.
Oh yeah, all those finale
nuanced
scenes there.
camera work, where everything
That's not a
feels
finale.
like it's handheld and really human and real. A lot of that.
That is true. Yeah, like I was saying, like they went and edited in all of that stuff.
I want some DH in there. So,
Quiz Arnaud.
Wouldn't that be nice?
He tells us, what I want is a psh, what I want is a what?
Quiz Arnaud.
Oh, so we're gonna talk a little bit about this new guy here.
This is the Arnaud model. So the hair is pretty detailed.
Did they really make him into this?
And,
That's great.
He doesn't have any pants.
Stop it. I can't.
And they wanted to incorporate the characters in the show.
Oh, that's cool. Stop. I remember you guys mentioning that.
Best thing you can do is just shut up and let him do his thing, because like it tends
Oh,
to.
that
be
looks just
that's
like
really
him. That's so
bullshit.
cool.
I loved that they added them as kids in there.
Oh.
It was not something we thought of on the in the room, but it just added this level of emotion between them.
Oh, that scene
Honestly,
broke
it's
me.
like,
That was so
I
bad.
feel like these characters could be in love now.
I mean, there was always that sort of inkling there that they did in fact have feelings for each other.
This sequence is in every way, technically, artistically, it's I don't know how to say that. Masterpiece of the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, not wrong, like being able to. Jeez.
And science. And I think that's exactly what I feel like the Fortiche depiction is. It is. I feel the science, I feel the power, I feel the.
Yeah.
Energy, but I also feel the beauty.
The incredible amount of power being demonstrated there.
La vision de départ et tout le monde met son petit.
Sa pierre à l'édifice.
Sa pierre à l'édifice, comme on dit. Enfin.
So basically, this board is all the steps that happen in Fortiche. After
All these boards they keep pulling out, all these
design
schedules.
phase, which basically is doing design for character, props, and background.
Oh my
En
goodness.
l'occurrence,
See,
ce bateau-là, il a été.
this is why I will always credit animators as some of the most hardworking individuals in the showmaking business.
Tout petit déjà, Victor.
In the filmmaking business, they are the hardest working individuals with like the
Then
toughest task.
Everything goes in storyboard.
In the storyboard department, we take the scripts and we work with the directors. We try to build something that is not there yet in the script.
Which is a
there's also
task.
the editing.
Having to do all the storyboarding and whatnot.
To really find the good timing for the boards.
As an editor, my job is to assemble those storyboards together into what we call animatic.
Yeah, yeah, all of the concept stuff.
You're recording the dialogue with the talent.
I love a good conundrum.
Monologuing is such delicate art.
Oh my goodness.
Undercity attacks at the Hex Gates and in the Academy Square.
Yeah, but I said I already called it. You can't do. I called dibs.
We get voices.
It's so
the actors,
weird
and then cut
seeing
them with sound
the actual
effects
actors voicing it there.
in order to see the movie and see how it works.
We're watching
Very close to the original.
animatics with the voice
Or
actors
very
in
close to
there.
the final project, I should say.
Learns none of this.
No worries there.
powder took care of the evidence.
I tried, okay?
So we were able to
Ooh,
watch.
so they had all the
whole
voice
season
acting ahead of
from
time, which is
start to
cool.
finish before we animated the rest of the episodes.
You did this?
Every aspect we were
The
afraid
broken ass
of
scene.
the episode, because it's not always easy to like get these like really raw emotional performances from really young actors, and so
Yeah, you're telling me. Her, jeez.
into the VO session. All right, today we're gonna make a 11, 12-year-old girl cry. Let's see how it goes.
Wow, did she do an insanely good job? Oh my goodness, stop.
She is not my sister anymore.
I remember all of us in the booth
That's so real.
being shocked by how good she is,
I-
and
we were all.
just being in tears at the end of the, takes.
And I think we got it.
Yay! I got the job when
Wow.
and I'm almost 16, you know? So it's been a while. Why did you leave me?
Because you're a jinx!
No. To get into that place of vulnerability.
I mean, it'd be hard for anybody. Like, are you kidding me?
Please come back, please, Violet. I need you, please. I have a little brother who is my best friend in the entire world. We get upset when we don't see each other for like more than 3 days. I can't imagine a world where he isn't in it.
Where's the...
Oh, you're back. Thinking about what that would be like if something had happened that made it so that we couldn't bounce back. Next thing I knew, it was all just coming to the surface.
Oh.
I only wanted to help. I only wanted to help. I only wanted to help my
I told you to stay away.
When it comes to siblings, they're your blood. And when you don't have family, what do you have?
You've got a good heart. Don't ever lose it. No matter how the world tries to break you.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting emotional again. It's even worse seeing them do this and seeing their faces and what they actually look like, and like them being real people. Like, obviously it feels so real in the animation, but like when you see the actual people voicing it and having to do it, like, oh.
I always knew you'd come back. What's going on?
Quand on entendait les voix, on se disait ah, on peut peut-être aller vers du Scorsese plutôt.
All the main characters were really scary to cast because, I mean, you were not just making a new character. It was like...
No, building on one.
Whatever, 6 years of, 100 gazillion million people who have very specific expectations and opinions about who these characters are. So don't f it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Super boring.
I can see why
Jinx took
that's
us the
such a
longest.
task.
I think we looked for the Jinx actress, I think, for roughly 3 years.
She's so beloved, and her voice is so specific. For a while, we were like, can we find someone who can do this?
Did they end up going with the original?
Find someone who can do both the intimate and quiet moments that are just like these really vulnerable acting moments. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you also needed an actress who can also do the really loud
Really go
moments.
deep down.
And you typically can find one or the other. I remember we were at a point where it was just, we've been looking for so long, we kind of just went
Well,
through
that would
all
explain
of
why they
the
can't-
LA catalog of talent. Let's
They
just pick
can't
one and
cast the
go.
original because the original would obviously have more of the crazy moments, not as much as the quiet moments.
And at some point, through the help of some casting folks, we found
Ah,
Ella.
that-
Hi.
And I mean, it was like the
Uh.
pearly gates just opened.
Well, look who it is. The boy savior.
I felt this like really deep connection with her because of empathy and compassion, on compassionate grounds. Like, yes, she's a
She was
terrible
phenomenal
person.
in this
She's done all
role.
these terrible things. But is she a terrible person? Like, I don't know. I started to realize like who she's become, this Jinx that she's become, is just a deeply rooted, very
So I love voice acting because you can sometimes hear a little bit of the original like the voice in the show in the actual voice actor.
Ouais, c'est vrai que l'acting, je pense, dans Arcane,
But
est
it-
bien
Then you
plus
hear
poussé
just
que dans
hints of
la
it for the
plupart des
regular
shows
person.
d'animation, parce que notre envie, c'est plutôt de faire essayer de vraiment copier ces acteurs et le casting, des fois, a influencé même les designs des personnages.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
In parallel of the storyboard, we are going in background and Kara props fabrication.
Oh, wow. Look at all those layers.
At the beginning, we work in the same time with animation, so sometimes it's difficult to know exactly the position of the character. We can see the 2D with a black and white.
Oh.
Because there is Silco.
Right, yeah.
Enfin, moi, ce que je préfère, c'est l'évolution.
They still have stuff behind him, wow.
Et elle a vraiment une évolution. Je pense que c'est pour ça que c'est mon personnage préféré. Et puis j'aime bien son côté un peu folle et en même temps, elle est pas.
Still so vulnerable. Yeah.
Pas si méchante.
There's so much. It's such a deep character.
So we've got designs, and from there we just build it in 3D. Yeah, it's very simple.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So
here
so simple.
We made the Atlas Gauntlet, and the most difficult part was there is a lot of tiny parts who work together. So before it gets to the rigging department, we have to be sure it works first. Like, all the tiny pieces, you know.
Oh, yep.
So it was engineered precisely to work like that.
Man, I've worked with similar software, but not anything even remotely this advanced.
It's actually really fun to create like all those intricate pieces, like, you know, the leg and the feet of Victor, all those.
Oh yeah.
Parts blending with the body.
Mm-hmm.
This was the design for the hands.
I mean,
I modeled something
it's
like this.
so satisfying when it comes out
I gave it to
at the final product.
Department, and they painted it so it looks like that.
So cool being able to actually like send it off and have a team that like works on each individual component. Oh man, that's so clean.
The process is built around the idea of bringing the design to the final image. Because this is actually like the design is just brought back in 3D, and it's actually what the designer thought of.
Bah là, je vous présente en fait ce que c'est un rig, le rig des marionnettes.
Going to work on his skates.
Vraiment des os fictifs qu'on met en place, donc c'est des points de pivot.
Oh yeah.
Faire tourner avec des mains.
Oh, and it reacts the way that you would want it to naturally. Stop, that's so cool.
3-4 idées pour rajouter de la vie au personnage.
And then we are going at layout stage, and they start, you know, to do the staging and the camera movement.
It's so cool seeing this all come to life, one piece at a time.
3D.
Oh, and it's like an entire 3D space. And then they just go through and obviously they do the camera work, the cinematography, to have it hit from certain angles. You can make it how you want it, but like it also means that you have to make like everything.
And then it goes to animation.
The amount of pieces that like go into this animation fix, yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
T'as plein de mouilles avant où il va partir, il part et puis sur le départ en fait il se fait tomber. T'as pas besoin d'avoir une grande distance, mais juste sentir.
If you go in a dictionary, like animation is giving life to something.
I mean, it's a good way to put it.
Like get the passion of something as well. And us, we are like the puppet master.
The puppet masters, yes. Oh man, this is something that I would love to like get some training in to like further study, because obviously I do some bare basics of animation.
No?
Ah, man. No reference.
Let people know that.
Why not?
No reference.
Well,
It's harder to do it without the motion capture.
Is used when you want to have some realistic animation, and only that.
Yeah. Even being able to do something as crazy as that, like, it's not always feeling realistic.
Animation, it pushes you to understand what happened in the body, how everything worked together to have like this feeling of natural and believable animation.
Yeah.
And also it's about like the style of the show. It's semi-realistic, but
Yeah.
it's not fully realistic.
It's an art style.
Something really handcrafted.
Animating is
Something
like
that won't, like,
acting out characters. You know, it's
you know,
performance.
age too much with time. It's something that's kind of timeless.
When I saw the style of Arcane, it was something like I want to try this kind of animation because it's really different from the cartoonish style I used to be in. And after working for so long in the industry, I wanted to challenge myself.
It would be challenging, that's for sure.
Character I would have loved to see when I was a kid.
He is really cool. I love Echo.
One of the first dialogues he had with Bai, I arrived with something completely different from the board, and Bart was like, "Oh, I didn't thought about this way, but it's interesting." And it was the same with Christian. I tried something like he was a little bit pissed and walking slower and just making with the face and giving a small attitude.
Yeah.
Not like a snake, but like this kind of
Almost like a
movement to
frustration.
say, yeah, I'm the one controlling.
You know, like a shot like that, the animator, when he was assigned the shots, did shoot himself in order to get some references.
Okay, so they still did give the reference.
And the live action feel.
We do work a lot with references. We go in
The reference
room.
room.
We show ourselves. We try to pretend and be the character and be in the right emotion.
Stop, that's so cool.
Why aren't you playing with the others? But the video reference is really something that
That's so cool.
capturing something natural.
I would have so much fun doing that. Like, if that was my job.
You got a shot to do and you got an idea in your head and you can probably like just go straight into the computer and do your stuff and it will work. But if you go in a ref room, you start recording yourself, you may end up having like some like little accident that you do that can be really interesting. And you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Let's dig into that.
Yeah, you end up accidentally coming across something.
Remind me why we bother with this dump.
I say no to such an auspicious offer.
You get to kind of act out all the different characters.
You have to. When you see 1 second.
Oh man, I would have so much fun with this.
Like, an animator spent a day on it. So, if you work on an expression, on a feeling, on a shot that lasts for 1 second, you're gonna spend a day having that feeling in your mind. Like, try to reproduce it.
Yeah.
It's not rare to have like you go around the animation department and you can see like people like doing like
yeah
kind of mimicking and trying to recreate
this
it.
Space where you're just like acting what that's the common thing in animation really.
Oh, I love that shot.
Part of this sequence particularly, like there is a lot of crazy sequence, but this one was the one for me. When I heard that I was working on it, I was like, it was like a dream, like. And I was really happy because I had the slow motion moment and
yes, that was some of the best animation in the show.
To make the movement of Echo Young. He's 9 years old, almost 10. We came here to shot the scene where Echo is running slowly in slow motion. Yeah, it was so cool to share that with him.
Wait.
It was like a moment.
That's his
son,
son.
And I hope you remember.
Stop. Why did that get me emotional too? Shit! I'm already done with the show. Stop making me cry.
It's only experimenting for now with paintings. It's about to be for the glitches we draw them directly on the computer.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, are you serious?
More realistic. 2D effects are very specific at Fortiche because you know it's a Fortiche trademark. You know, doing 2D effects on CG animation.
They're just like traditional animators doing effects frame by frame.
Donc ici,
No wonder it took so long. Jeez.
Le pouvoir que Jace crée avec son marteau.
Oh, that's so cool.
Frame by frame and layers by layers. But
Ah.
it's very difficult to follow the camera movements, which are very interesting. This kind of shot is really difficult to do because the camera is a little bit hard to follow. I think I worked something like 3 weeks on it.
Oh my goodness, just to do that.
Depuis une dizaine d'années, on fait
Blows my mind.
des aider pour les teasers de Riot. Sur le teaser de présentation de Jinx, donc qui s'appelle Get Jinxed, on a découvert le style Fortiche.
That blend of 2D and 3D animation.
I have this feeling all the time when I'm watching something in progress and I'm like, we get to the animation phase and I'm looking at the animation, I'm like, how are you going to make this better? You know, how is this scene going to feel more immersive? You know, how are they going to possibly, you know, level this up?
And wow, did they do that?
Animation, background, simulation, 2D effects. We render it and we composite it.
That will take a while. That will
come at the end of the
like
process and basically we just
usually it takes a couple hours just to render some of my videos, and I don't have that much complication. They wow.
Because the background is paint, there is actually no light used for the characters. We have to adapt the characters to the background. So when we see like a red light on Sevika and it's changing for a green light when she is going further, actually, technically, nothing is there. We have to create everything from the background, from what we see in the background. So yeah, we go from here.
So there's no lighting in the first angle of it.
To here.
Wow. So much work in just like a simple single shot like that.
Compositing at Fortiche is one of their signature crafts, and it's just
I can see why.
a straight mystery box for me.
How do they paint the light?
I cannot tell you.
Oh, it's something secret they keep to themselves.
Hold back anything,
Oh,
but,
never mind.
Some of the process I don't even understand.
Wow.
I don't know if I can show you. Yes, it's kind of secret.
The way to light, it's different. It's special Fortiche way.
They have their own
But
little
it's so
unique
simple.
take on
You
it.
know the trick? You say, so simple.
It's not magical trick. It's just artists and people who are doing beautiful things.
I love that.
The real magic is on the everywhere.
Magic is in the people that make this possible.
Because of their handcraftedness and the paintery look, it gives us this timeless look that I think even when the technology evolves, that this will
It's still gonna look good, yeah. That's what I was
In the same
saying.
way, I think I can go back and watch like the Disney animation, like Bambi, or you know, like Cinderella, and it's timeless. It doesn't age because it's handcrafted.
Nothing is wrong.
Just a different style.
If you have a glass, if you see this glass, it's not round because a drawing it's not perfect.
You know, if you see the eyes, you know, the pupils.
The pupils.
Yeah, they're.
Except the gemstone.
There's gonna be some issues with it, yeah.
Where there is a sphere, perfect sphere.
Well, that makes sense that it would be in that moment.
Et l'idée un peu, c'est d'avoir chaque image, comment dépasser la qualité que peut produire un dessin animé 2D classique. Et ça, la 3D nous le permet. Et c'est d'avoir que chaque image, chaque pose qu'on fait, ça reste un peu un concept art, une belle illustration.
Oh, there's so many beautiful stills in this. Wow. Oh, yep, and we gotta have a little bit of the good music here as well.
There's just storytelling happening at every phase and every level.
You're not kidding, are you?
Good morning. Good morning. So Ray, I think that was a great first read. Can the second violins play that a little bit softer?
Stop, they're doing it over a freaking video chat?
I've never worked on a show before where the musicians are such an integral part of everything.
These are like this is the music team, you know, so they wrote all the songs.
They've been spending, what, 3-4 years on the music for this show? Like,
that is
sometimes
insane.
you get 3-4 weeks for an episode to do music.
Well, no wonder it was so good then. They got all this time.
All the muscles that we've grown as a company in the music making craft combined. I really believe that what we're doing with music in Arcane Season 1 has never been done in entertainment.
Wait, is that gonna be what the next episode is? Oh, hell yes. Oh, I can't wait to see that one. Oh, that's gonna be so good. Oh, I can't wait to see the making of the music in the next one. Those are some of the best aspects of this show. Stop. Come on. They're always trying to make me cry at every angle and turn in this video here. Jeez. So we just finished watching Bridging the Rift Part 3, Killstreaks Meet Keyframes, and it is so damn cool to see how an entire process goes through and how they have to go layer by layer, inch by inch, like team by team in order to get all of this to work, because a lot of people just don't realize how complicated animation actually is. Like, there are so many layers that go into this, and the more, as they were saying, handcrafted you get into it, the longer and more effort you have to actually put into this. And like with something like this, with the blend of 2D and 3D, and a lot of it being like made by hand on its own and not just simply like being like, as they were saying, like motion capture or anything, like this is all stuff that like they had to kind of just make themselves for the very first time. And like that is a process. Like, no wonder the show took as long as it did to make. Like that doesn't, looking at this process now, it does not surprise me that it took as long as it did, especially like talking about how the voice actors for Powder here, which I'm gonna get to that in a moment because I definitely want to talk about the voice actor aspect of it. But seeing her go from like 10 and then her saying like, oh yeah, I'm like 16, 17 now, and I'm you know, still working on this. It's been a process. And I'm like, yeah, that's like some of the like biggest forming years of your childhood. Like, that is you turning into like a grown-ass adult, like during that time, like going from the age of like, I went through so many changes from the age of 10 to 16, 17, 18. Like, that is very much like such an important part of your life where so many things happen to you. So many things like kind of help define who you are as a person, and this is something that is going to define who they are for the rest of their lives. Like that right there blows my mind. Like, and the time that it took to make this, some of the people who worked on this went from being full-on children to nearly like young, to being young adults. And like it's so fascinating to see this entire process going from like concepts to some of the initial like drawings and animatics, and then getting into more of the voice acting component of it, because oh man, looking at their actual faces here instead of like seeing like their voices through the lens of the characters that are being shown, like that right there is like, it was kind of emotional for me, like especially coming from somebody who would absolutely love to be a voice actor. Like that is probably like that's like the dream job of mine, where if like money was of no object, I could dedicate all the time in the world to doing it. I would love be a voice actor. And so like I always get fascinated seeing like the people who are at the top of their craft getting into it. And like, as it's been said a lot when it comes to like being a voice actor, a lot of the time, like in order for you to get to a place where you're able to embody all of these things in how you act, because you're not able to necessarily show as much, you have to kind of like show through just how you present your voice and how you speak, rather than like having it be like a full body experience. And that's tough, especially when like you are trying to portray an emotional character, like someone who either tugs at your particular heartstrings or at others' heartstrings, and you have to go to, unfortunately, some very deep, dark places. Like, there was one comment that I saw on the video for episode 3 of Arcane when the Powder was having her full breakdown in bed, like at being left behind and like just sobbing uncontrollably. And then like also her at the very end of that episode also like breaking down again, and like it makes me feel so troubled to think of, like, for somebody who is anywhere between the ages of 10 and 16, what dark place did that person have to go in order to reach that emotional depth? Because that is frightening to me, to see somebody so young be able to portray emotion that many people have not ever like truly felt. Like that right there, you have to go to the darkest, deepest recesses of your subconscious, and you have to pull at the stuff that you're usually either repressing or trying to keep at bay, or basically trying to ignore, and you have to bring it out and put yourself out there for all to see, and have it be a thing where you're vulnerable to the world and everybody gets to see it. And like it is something that is, it can't really be taught. It's not something that like you can be mentored through. You can be kind of like, you know, pushed in the right direction, obviously, but like most of the time the ones who are really good at what they do are the ones who unfortunately are able to pull from experience. And you know, voice acting just always fascinates me as well. Like the two areas of animation and voice acting, like those have always been pretty significant staples when it comes to how I identify in terms of my theatrical background. Because like growing up, I did a lot of musical theater, I did a lot of plays, like a lot of stage related things, and then sort of like started to migrate a little bit more into you know, stupid little videos with my friends, and a little bit more of like, you know, more live action stuff. And then over time, like I've started to appreciate the medium of animation a lot more, and gotten more into like the voice acting aspect of it. And I've even looked into potentially even like trying to do like small gigs for it. And you know, at one point or another, when I worked for like one of those haunted hay rides, and I was cast as one of the lead roles when it first opened up, and they had me go and do a radio ad because they really liked how I portrayed my character. And I was this sort of like ringmaster character who was very expressive and used a lot of like bodily like uncomfiness. And so as I was doing this radio ad, like I remember like sitting in this room with all this audio recording equipment around, and the person interviewing me along with one of the other cast members, and I had to really dig deep down, because this was a character that was meant to really not really necessarily scare people, but make them like uncomfortable. And so I had to embody that in the voice and be able to really dig deep down to a place where sometimes it's not a great place to be. And while it was like one of the best experiences of my life, you know, there are definitely certain aspects of that character where it's a struggle, and much of that is because of like the background that I kind of wrote up for it for myself, because I wanted to be able to identify more with the character. And so like this character of the Ringmaster, this sort of like sideshow like carny who wanted to have the biggest, best show imaginable, and they wanted to have the best show possible and never really got their chance to do so. And so they turned to some darker elements to try and make it as extreme as possible, and that might potentially lead to, you know, this particular character being so obsessed with it that they have one final curtain call where they lay it all on the line. Like it becomes an obsession. It's something that they have to be the center of entertainment. They have to be this, and like criticism of any kind, like they can't deal with it. They need that reassurance that they're doing the right thing, and like you can see it start to evolve into the character. And that's when you get like the "Welcome to the show. I am the Ringmaster, and I would be delighted if you could join me on this adventure." And so obviously that's me getting to enjoy a little bit of the voice acting that I love to do so much. And that right there, like it does take a little bit out of me to actually do that, because it is a character that I not only just kind of made up, but it's also a character where I have a full backstory. I have a story for how they came to be and what their eventual fate will be. And obviously with a lot of these characters here, they kind of know like what the eventual endpoint is. Where are they going to end up? And sometimes they don't even know where they're going to end up. They just know, what have they gone through? What would you feel like in that situation? Go. And that right there is like, I know how crazy it can be to try and bring yourself to that level. And so once again, this is going to be me gushing over all the voice talent that is in this show, because they are all so significantly talented. Each of them being able to kind of show the different sides of who they are, because a lot of the time when it comes to a voice actor, a good voice actor puts a little bit of themselves into the character that they are playing. And you know, for some people, they obviously aren't able to make the disconnect where they say like, this is where the character ends and this is where I begin. I am not my character. And like that's why we obviously see like some people who end up a little too much ingrained in their character. They end up not being able to find their sense of self anymore. Like one of the biggest examples that I can think of is Heath Ledger with the Joker. And obviously, while that is not a voice acting role, it is something where he got so ingrained in the role that he struggled to find his sense of self again, and he found himself in such a disturbed state that, you know, while it wasn't necessarily him committing suicide in any way, the things that he did to try and cope with it ended up leading to his death. And it was so unfortunate that like nobody is there to really help him through it, or it was just so something that couldn't be helped because he couldn't make the disconnect anymore. But that also means that like we got one of the performances of a lifetime, because he was so good at portraying this character that the disconnect never happened. And so the last area that I kind of want to talk about here before all of this ends, it was really cool to see how like the animators would have their own little reference room to be able to act things out, so that they had like a reference of some kind, even though it wasn't motion capture. It was more to see like what would their faces be like, and be able to kind of like see like them sitting at their desk like making faces and like doing the same face over and over again as they're trying to animate it, and like looking back on what the faces look like and so on. And like that I can identify it with that on an emotional level there, because it's something that I've done before. As I've been editing videos and I'll mimic certain like facial expressions that I start doing, just like noting that I am like doing it in the first place, which is really cool. And like it just seems like so much fun, but also so intimate to be in a room by yourself and to like go through that process, so that way the like as an animator you can kind of see like, where is this going to go, how can I make this work? And like it's absolutely beyond fascinating to me. Like the process that they go through in order to make this happen is mind-blowing, and I love every second of it, and I'm really excited for the next part. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, if I missed anything or if you had any comments on what I had to say here. And in the meantime, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. But in the meantime, class, you are officially dismissed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, everybody.